What is up, Watch fam? Welcome to RANT&H. Thank you for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to rant about something that I saw. So anyway, I'm in Greece, right? I'm at a resort, and I'm looking through the magazine, and I saw this ad. Franck Muller, right? Geneva. It's horse. It's lazy. It's boring. And it's a luxury company. It's a master complication, pink gold. Let's say, $100,000. I'm sure it's more, but call it $100,000. I hate companies who have the audacity to think that they're worth your $100,000 and they don't care enough to learn how to speak to you. Right? I hate that. And since I love watches the most out of all of the other material things in the world, my hate is amplified when this happens in watches. Right? Franck Muller, quick rundown of their company. They were really popular, right, like 10 years ago. Kind of like exotic-ish, watches with crazy numerals and colors and interesting stuff. They fell out of popularity. That's it. Franck Muller isn't cool anymore, right? And what I mean by that is Franck Muller doesn't sell itself very much at all. I don't know, like, stat-wise or anything like that, how their earnings are. That's not the point. The point is, if you're an active member of any social medium, or if you are an active person in the watch community, or even just an observer, you know that Franck Muller isn't, like, selling. It's not a thing. And no one's saying, oh, picking up my new Franck Muller today, because it's just not in. Because they are not in. Right? Because they are not the cool thing to have, or they are not speaking to people enough for them to buy, they can't afford to be uninventive. Patek is Patek. Rolex is Rolex. Rolex doesn't need to put a brilliant ad campaign out for it to be Rolex and sell a ton of subs. They don't have to do that. Franck Muller has to, because they don't already have this massive market equity that is selling their watches for them every day. You see what I mean? Like, because they're not selling all these watches, they actually have to work significantly harder than their, equally priced competitors. Because Patek can kind of be lazy and still sell Nautiluses. Franck Muller being lazy, they're going to sell shit, right? So seeing an ad like this, right, first of all, it's a paper ad. Number one, paper ad. So that alone, I think, is ridiculous, because who the reads paper ads anymore, right? They know that the people who are sitting right down there, are wearing gold subs, they're wearing Nautiluses, they're wearing Langas, whatever they're wearing, they can afford this kind of right? So they think, okay, if we put our product in front of the people who can afford it, they're going to have a higher chance of buying it. Right? It's not true. It doesn't work that way. First of all, no one really reads this. That's number one. So shame on you, Franck Muller. Number two, this is absolutely not inventive. There's nothing here, apart from the photo of the watch, which, okay, I agree that watches should be your focus, that grabs your attention at all. It's nothing. I don't know what this cost them to be put in such a larger publication. It's just Astor magazine, whatever. It's a big luxurious magazine. My point is that, let's say it was 20 grand. Right, to be in this magazine or other, Financial Times or whatever it is. If Franck Muller just took that $20,000, right, and put it toward hiring, like I've said 100 times before, a 23-year-old person who understands Snapchat and Facebook ads, hiring them part-time, even for 20 grand, maybe it gets them, 3, 4, 5 months, assuming that it's just a part-time work, they will sell more watches that way. Because that person understands how to speak to people, these, rich people right downstairs who are not reading these magazines. They're on their cell phones, right? They're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook, they're not on Snapchat because they're a little bit older, but all those kinds of mediums. So I think, I'm pretty damn sure that $20,000 not only was poorly spent, but could have been spent in such a simple, right, and such a better way by just giving it to someone who understands platforms which people are speaking on right now. Franck Muller needs to be working a lot harder. They need to be doing a lot better than Patek, than Rolex, than brands like that, right? Because they have no market equity. I don't give a shit about Franck Muller as a person. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm not saying they're good. At the point, I just don't care about them because they haven't made me care. They haven't made us care. And that's a pretty large statement, but most of the people watching this video or on Instagram or on Facebook, they don't really know or care about Franck Muller. So they need to work overtime, right? They need to be more inventive. They need to be more intuitive, okay? More so than, getting another account or making more stock or creating a new watch. Like, they could create 3 fewer watches next year, but really invest into social. They would get rid of this magazine stuff, right? And they would be investing, like I said, in Facebook, in Instagram, in LinkedIn. the places where these old dudes wearing Patek 5980s, which I saw 80 times today, they're on their cell phones and they're communicating. That is where you need to be speaking and growing their business. Franck Muller used to be big. There is a little bit of a cachet there that they could leverage. Take the magazine, throw it out of the window, and market like the way you used to design, right? In like a really wild, intuitive, eye-catching way, right? Oh, the reason that they were so big to begin with was because they were doing things like no one else. For better or worse, it was no one else, right? So if they were to market like that, we would all be not only talking about Franck Muller, but Instagramming photos of them and advertising for them. And then I'd do it on Snapchat and on my Facebook. It's this domino effect. If they start, marketing like they used to design, like in that wild fashion, they really could kill it. More so than any singular salesperson, more so than, any magazine or anything. Drop the mic, that's it. Thank you guys for watching RANT&H. I'm really passionate about this subject. I think I'm going to be kind of dissecting some more brands on RANT&H more often, because As-T&H is more so about particular watches. So I think I'm going to kind of take this RANT&H in the direction of dissecting brands, their decisions, and stuff like that. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. I hope you guys are as well. Thank you, as always, for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Have a great day, guys.